The acid burned through Jasmine's face before she could scream. Marcus watched his pregnant wife's skin blister and peel, watched her fall, watched her try to crawl away while he just stood there with the empty bottle in his hand. 21 days he'd planned this, 3 websites teaching him where to aim for maximum disfigurement, 1 life insurance policy worth $500,000. You couldn't leave it alone, he said to her writhing body. Then he walked out, left her burning, left his unborn daughter, left Jasmine to die on their kitchen floor. What he didn't leave was evidence, or so he thought, because the surgeon who would rebuild Jasmine's face was about to recognize something no one else could see. Before we continue with what happens next, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is going to take you on a journey you won't believe. Stay with me until the very end, and please comment below what the city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Now, let's get back to that terrible October night that changed everything. The liquid hit Jasmine's face before her brain could process what was happening. 1 second she was reaching for the light switch, already thinking about putting her swollen feet up and maybe having some of that leftover peach cobbler Mrs. Washington had brought over. The next second, her entire world became fire. The scream that tore from her throat wasn't human. It was pure animal agony, the kind of sound that makes neighbors wake up knowing something is terribly, irreversibly wrong. Jasmine's hands flew toward her face, but some instinct older than thought stopped her just before she touched the burning skin. Her knees buckled. She hit the hardwood floor hard enough to rattle her teeth. "Blake!" The name came out strangled. Wrong. Wait, no, not Blake. Marcus. Her husband's name was Marcus. But her mind was fragmenting, the pain so intense it was erasing everything except one singular thought. The baby. Marcus stood frozen in the kitchen doorway, the empty bottle dangling from his right hand. In the dim light from the street lamp outside, Jasmine could see his face through the blur of her tears. He looked surprised, actually surprised, like he'd expected something different, like he'd thrown water and gotten fire instead. "You ruined everything," Marcus said. His voice was flat, emotionless, like he was commenting on the weather. "You had to ask questions. You couldn't just leave it alone." Jasmine tried to form words, but her face felt like it was melting off her skull. The chemical smell was overwhelming, and underneath it, something worse, the smell of her own burning flesh. The baby kicked, hard, one solid thump against Jasmine's ribcage, like her daughter was saying, "Mama, get up, move, survive." That kick jolted Jasmine back into her body. She wasn't just Jasmine anymore. She was somebody's mother. And mothers don't give up. Mothers crawl through fire if they have to. She started crawling toward the front door. 5 feet away. Might as well have been 5 miles. Every movement sent fresh waves of agony across her face, down her neck, across her chest where some of the acid had splashed. "Marcus," she gasped. "Hospital, please." Behind her, Marcus dropped the bottle. It shattered on the kitchen tile with a sound like wind chimes in hell. Then he turned and walked toward the back door. He was leaving her. Jasmine's mind couldn't process it. Her husband, the man who'd promised to love her in sickness and health, was walking away while she burned. She heard the back door open, close, his car starting in the driveway. The sound of his engine fading into the October night was the loneliest sound Jasmine had ever heard. She reached the front door and pulled herself up using the door frame. Her vision was blurring badly now. She couldn't tell if it was from tears or if the acid had damaged her eyes. Her hands shook so violently she could barely turn the handle. When she finally got the door open and stumbled onto the front porch, the night air hit her destroyed face and she screamed again. This time, the sound brought Mrs. Washington running from next door in her bathrobe and curlers. The older woman took one look at Jasmine and her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God. Oh my God, Jasmine, what happened to you, baby?" Mrs. Washington was already dialing 911 as she ran across the yard, her phone pressed to her ear with one hand, while the other reached toward Jasmine and then stopped, hovering in the air, afraid to touch, afraid to hurt her more. "Don't touch your face, honey," Mrs. Washington said, her voice shaking but professional. She'd been a nurse for 40 years before retiring. She'd seen bad things. But the way her face went pale, the way her voice cracked, told Jasmine everything she needed to know about how bad she looked. "Keep your hands down. Help is coming. Just breathe, baby. Just breathe." Jasmine's legs gave out. She sat heavily on her porch steps, one hand moving automatically to her belly. The baby kicked again, 1, 2, 3 times in quick succession. Still alive, still there, still fighting. "My baby," Jasmine whispered. The words felt like broken glass in her throat. "Please, my baby." "The baby's going to be fine," Mrs. Washington said, with more confidence than her eyes showed. She was speaking rapidly into her phone now. "Yes, I need an ambulance at 847 Maple Street in southwest Atlanta. Chemical burn, possible acid attack. Victim is conscious, 6 months pregnant. Yes, pregnant. We need obstetrics standing by. Please hurry." Jasmine heard sirens in the distance, getting closer. She thought about Marcus's face, that surprise in his eyes. But the bottle had been ready. He'd been waiting in the dark. This wasn't impulse. This was planned. Her husband had tried to kill her. The thought was so huge, so impossible, that Jasmine's brain kept trying to reject it. There had to be another explanation. Maybe Marcus was sick. Maybe he'd had a psychotic break. Maybe this was a nightmare and she'd wake up any second. But the pain was real. The smell of her own burning skin was real. And the way Marcus had walked away, leaving her to die, that was real too. The ambulance pulled up, lights painting the quiet neighborhood red and blue. 2 paramedics jumped out, a young black man and a white woman with kind eyes. Their faces went professionally blank when they saw Jasmine, that practiced neutrality that medical professionals use when they're seeing something terrible. "Ma'am, I'm Devin, and this is my partner, Sarah," the man said, kneeling beside her. "We're going to take care of you. Can you tell me your name?" "Jasmine. Jasmine Carter." Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. Thick. Wrong. "I'm 6 months pregnant. Is my baby okay?" Sarah was already wrapping a blood pressure cuff around Jasmine's arm. "Let's check, honey. Lie back for me if you can." They eased her onto the stretcher with practiced gentleness. Sarah lifted Jasmine's shirt, her fingers cool against Jasmine's skin, and placed a fetal Doppler on her belly. The sound of rapid heartbeats filled the night air. Thump, 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 thump. Fast, but steady. "Baby's heartbeat is strong," Sarah said, and her voice was warm now, genuinely relieved. 150 beats per minute. "That's perfect, Mama. Your little one is doing just fine." Jasmine started crying. The tears burned in the acid wounds, but she couldn't stop them. "Thank God, thank God. Thank you, God." Devon was examining her face without touching it, his eyes moving quickly, cataloging damage. "Ma'am, can you tell me what happened?" "My husband." The words felt like betrayal, like she was breaking some sacred vow by speaking them. But Marcus had broken every vow first. "Marcus threw acid on my face." The paramedics exchanged a look. Devon's jaw tightened. Sarah's hands gentled even more as she started an IV line. "Where is your husband now?" Devon asked, his voice carefully neutral. "He left, just drove away." "Okay," Devon's voice was gentle, but Jasmine could hear the anger underneath. "We've got you now. We're taking you to Sacred Heart Hospital. They have the best burn unit in Georgia and a level 1 trauma center. You and your baby are going to get the best care possible." They loaded her into the ambulance. Mrs. Washington climbed in behind them without asking permission. "I'm coming with her," the older woman said in a voice that broke no argument. She shouldn't be alone. As the ambulance pulled away, siren wailing, Jasmine kept one hand on her belly. The baby was still kicking, still fighting. Each kick was a small miracle, a reminder that life continued even when everything fell apart. If her baby could fight, so could she. The ride to Sacred Heart took 12 minutes. Jasmine knew because she counted every second between waves of pain. The paramedics kept talking to her, keeping her conscious, keeping her present. "What do you do for work, Jasmine?" Sarah asked. "I teach 3rd grade, Washington Elementary." That's wonderful. What's your favorite thing about teaching? Jasmine knew what Sarah was doing, keeping her mind engaged, keeping her from going into shock. She played along, needing the distraction. The moment when something clicks, Jasmine said. When a kid who's been struggling with reading or math suddenly gets it, their whole face just lights up. I bet you're an amazing teacher. I try. The ambulance pulled into the hospital bay. The doors flew open, and Jasmine was wheeled into a trauma room that was already set up and waiting. Nurses swarmed around her. Doctors appeared, everyone moving with practiced efficiency. A tall black man in scrubs stepped forward. He had silver hair at his temples and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He looked at Jasmine's face with a clinical assessment that somehow felt gentle instead of cold. Hello, Jasmine. I'm Dr. David Mitchell. I'm a plastic surgeon specializing in facial trauma reconstruction. I'm going to be taking care of you tonight. His voice was deep and calm. Can you tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain you're in? 15, Jasmine said. Okay, we're going to give you something for that right now. But first, I need to examine the burns and make sure the baby is stable. Is that all right? Jasmine nodded. Dr. Mitchell bent close, examining her face from multiple angles. His expression never changed, but Jasmine saw something flicker in his eyes. Concern. Maybe anger at whoever had done this. The acid has caused second and third degree burns across approximately 60% of your facial surface area, he said quietly. Your eyes appear intact. Your airway is not compromised. These are both very good signs. My baby, Jasmine asked. Is my baby okay? An obstetrician appeared on her other side, a petite Indian woman with gentle hands. I'm Dr. Patel. Let's check on your little one. Dr. Patel performed a quick ultrasound. The baby appeared on the screen, moving normally, heartbeat strong and steady. Your daughter looks perfect, Dr. Patel said. No signs of distress whatsoever. Daughter? Jasmine felt her chest tighten with emotion. It's a girl? You didn't know? I wanted to be surprised, Jasmine started crying again. I wanted to wait. Mrs. Washington squeezed her hand. You're having a girl, sweetheart, and she's going to be just fine. Dr. Mitchell stepped back into Jasmine's line of sight. Jasmine, I need to take you into surgery to remove the damaged tissue and begin the reconstruction process. This will be the first of several procedures. Do you understand? Will I look like myself again? The question came out small, childlike. Dr. Mitchell paused. Then he said something that Jasmine would remember for the rest of her life. You'll look like someone who survived something terrible, he said, and that person will be beautiful in ways that have nothing to do with appearances. But yes, we'll rebuild your face. I promise you that. Jasmine nodded. Okay, do it. As they wheeled her toward the operating room, she heard raised voices in the hallway. Where is she? Where's Jasmine? Rebecca Torres burst into view, her dark curly hair wild around her face, her brown eyes wide with panic. Jasmine's best friend since their freshman year at Spelman College looked at her and went completely still. Oh my God. Rebecca's face crumpled like paper. Oh, Jazz, oh no, oh God, no. Rebecca, Jasmine said, he left. Marcus left me to die. I know, baby. Rebecca was crying now, moving alongside the gurney, her hand gripping Jasmine's. The police found his car abandoned on Martin Luther King Drive. They're looking for him everywhere. Good, Jasmine said. The pain medication was starting to work, making her words feel slow and heavy. I hope they find him. I hope he rots in prison forever. He will, Rebecca said fiercely. I promise you he will. As they passed through the doors to the surgical wing, Jasmine caught a glimpse of her reflection in a metal cabinet door. Her face was swollen beyond recognition, red and blistered, parts of it white where the acid had eaten deepest. She looked like something from a horror movie. She looked away quickly. That wasn't her. That couldn't be her. But deep down, she knew. That was her now. That was what Marcus had made her. The baby kicked 7 times in quick succession, like she was trying to remind her mother that there was still something beautiful in this nightmare. Jasmine closed her eyes as they transferred her to the operating table. She focused on those kicks, on that heartbeat, on the daughter she hadn't even known she was carrying until 20 minutes ago. "My daughter," she whispered as the anesthesia took hold. "Mama's still here. I'm still here for you." "Doctor." Mitchell's face appeared above her, masked and ready. "Count backwards from 10 for me, Jasmine." 10, 9, 8, her baby. 7, 6, Marcus, how could he? 5, 4, still alive, still fighting. 3, 2, darkness. But what Dr. Mitchell didn't know yet, what nobody in that operating room could have possibly guessed, would change both their lives forever. Because as he examined the burns more closely under the bright surgical lights, as he carefully planned his approach to reconstructing Jasmine's destroyed face, he noticed something. Behind her right ear, untouched by the acid, protected by the angle at which Marcus had thrown it, was a small birthmark shaped like a crescent moon. Dr. Mitchell's hand stilled, his breath caught in his throat. He had seen that birthmark before, on a 3-year-old girl who had disappeared 26 years ago, on his daughter, on Caroline. The surgery took 8 hours. Dr. David Mitchell worked with the precision and care that had made him one of the most respected plastic surgeons in the Southeast. His team moved around him like a well-choreographed dance. Everyone knew their role, everyone executed perfectly. But David's mind kept drifting to that birthmark. It was impossible, had to be. Coincidence. Thousands of people had crescent-shaped birthmarks. The human body created them randomly, meaninglessly. This woman couldn't be his Caroline. His daughter had been gone for 26 years. The trail had gone cold decades ago. He'd searched everywhere, hired private investigators, checked every database, followed every lead that went nowhere. His wife, Lisa, had taken Caroline during one of her psychotic episodes, postpartum psychosis that had gone undiagnosed for too long, that David hadn't recognized until it was too late. By the time he realized how sick Lisa was, how disconnected from reality, she'd already vanished with their baby girl. 3 months later, Lisa died in a single-car accident on a rural highway in Alabama. Caroline wasn't in the car. The police searched everywhere, foster system, hospitals, every morgue in 3 states. A 3-year-old girl had simply disappeared into thin air. David had kept Caroline's room exactly as it was. Her toys, her clothes, her tiny bed with the pink comforter, all waiting for a homecoming that never happened. He'd devoted his life to helping burn victims after that. If he couldn't save his own daughter, at least he could save someone else's child, someone else's wife, someone else's future. Dr. Mitchell? His surgical nurse, Martha, was looking at him with concern. "Do you want to proceed with the grafts now or wait for the next surgery?" David refocused. This woman, whoever she was, had been through hell. The least he could do was give her the best care possible. "We'll stabilize tonight," he said. "Grafts in stage 2. Let's make sure we've got clean margins first." He finished the procedure, ensuring every wound was clean, every suture placed perfectly. When it was done, he stripped off his gloves and went to find whoever was waiting for Jasmine Carter. Rebecca Torres was in the waiting room, clutching a styrofoam cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago. She jumped up when she saw him. "How is she?" "The surgery went well," David said. "We removed the damaged tissue and prepared the area for reconstruction. She's going to need several more procedures over the next few months, but she's stable." "Will she?" Rebecca's voice broke. "Will she look like herself again?" "Physically, yes. With time and surgery, we can rebuild her face. Emotionally," David paused. "That's going to take longer." Rebecca's face crumpled. "I should have known. I should have seen the signs." "What signs?" "Marcus changed about 8 months ago. Got secretive, defensive when Jasmine asked questions. I told her something was wrong, but she defended him." Rebecca's voice broke again. "God, I should have pushed harder." "This is not your fault," David said firmly. "The only person responsible for this is the man who attacked her." "Have they found him yet?" "I don't know, but the police are here. They want to take Jasmine's statement when she wakes up." Detective James Rodriguez appeared from around the corner as if summoned. He was a broad-shouldered man in his mid-40s with salt and pepper hair and a face that had seen too much but still managed to look kind. "Dr. Mitchell," he said, "can I speak with you about the victim?" Of course. They moved to a private consultation room. Detective Rodriguez pulled out a notebook. "What can you tell me about her injuries?" Second and third degree chemical burns across approximately 60% of her facial surface area. Eyes intact, airway clear, no other injuries apparent. Fetus is healthy and showing no distress. Fetus? The detective's jaw tightened. She's pregnant? 6 months. He attacked a pregnant woman. It wasn't a question. Detective Rodriguez wrote something down with more force than necessary. "We found Marcus Carter's car 2 blocks from the scene. Keys still in the ignition. Driver's door open. He fled on foot." "Any idea where he went?" "Not yet, but we found his laptop in the car. Apparently, he forgot it in his rush to leave." Detective Rodriguez's expression turned grim. "Do you want to know what we found on that laptop?" David nodded. "Gambling websites, dozens of them. Chat logs with loan sharks. He owed $60,000. The detective flipped a page. "According to Mrs. Carter's bank statements, their joint savings account was emptied 3 weeks ago. Every penny. And he took out a second mortgage on their house without her knowledge. Forged her signature." David felt his stomach drop. "Did Jasmine know?" "We found evidence she confronted him about charges on their credit card 2 days before the attack. Gambling sites." Detective Rodriguez pulled out his phone and read from it. "We also found text messages between Marcus Carter and a woman named Desiree Cole. She works at the same financial consulting firm. The messages go back 8 months. They're having an affair." 8 months? The length of Jasmine's pregnancy. Exactly. Does Jasmine know? We'll have to tell her when she wakes up. David thought about the woman on his operating table. Disfigured, pregnant, financially ruined. And now she would learn her husband had been cheating on her the entire time. How much could one person take? "I want to be there when you tell her," David said. "Why?" David hesitated. Then he said, "Because nobody should hear news like that alone." Detective Rodriguez studied him for a moment. Then he nodded. "All right, I'll let you know when she's conscious." David checked on Jasmine in recovery. She was still sedated, breathing steadily through an oxygen mask. Bandages covered most of her face. Only her eyes and mouth were visible. He looked at her chart. Age 29. Born June 1996. No listed family. Emergency contact was Rebecca Torres, friend. No parents, no siblings, nobody. Just like Caroline would be now. 29 years old, alone in the world. David shook his head. He was being irrational. The birthmark meant nothing. It was wishful thinking. Grief playing tricks after all these years. But as he left the recovery room, he couldn't help pulling out his phone and looking at the photo he kept in a locked folder. Caroline at age 3, smiling at the camera, happy, and unaware that in 2 weeks her entire life would shatter. He zoomed in on the photo. Behind her right ear, just barely visible in the sunlight, was a small crescent moon-shaped birthmark, exactly like Jasmine's. David closed the photo and went to his office. He would check on Jasmine in a few hours. For now, he needed to think, to breathe, to convince himself he wasn't going crazy. But in his file cabinet, buried under years of paperwork, was Caroline's missing persons report. He found himself pulling it out, reading it for the 1,000th time. Caroline Marie Mitchell, disappeared June 15, 1999, age 3, brown hair, hazel eyes, crescent moon birthmark behind right ear. Last seen with mother, Lisa Mitchell. Mother later found deceased in car accident. Child never recovered. Presumed dead after 5 years. Case closed. But David had never closed the case in his heart. He'd searched for 15 years before finally accepting she was gone. Not dead, just gone. Lost somewhere in the system. A Jane Doe who aged out of foster care without ever knowing who she really was. He looked at Jasmine's intake form again. Foster care background. No memory of biological parents. Aged out at 18. No, it was impossible. Thousands of girls matched that description. The birthmark was a coincidence. He was seeing patterns where none existed. But what if? David put the file away and returned to the recovery room. Jasmine was starting to stir. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused and confused. "Jasmine," he said gently, "I'm Dr. Mitchell. You're in the hospital. You had surgery. Do you remember what happened?" Her eyes found his face. For a moment, they were blank. Then memory returned, and her whole body tensed. "Marcus," she whispered through cracked lips. "He threw acid." "Yes, but you're safe now. The surgery went well." "My baby?" "Your daughter is perfectly healthy." Fresh tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. "Daughter, I have a daughter." "You do." Jasmine's hand moved toward her face, but David caught it gently. "Don't touch yet. The wounds need to heal." "How bad is it?" David paused. Then he decided she deserved honesty. "Significant damage, but repairable. We'll do this in stages. Today we stabilized. Next week, we start reconstruction." Will I be me again? Such a simple question. Such a complicated answer. "You'll always be you," David said. "Your face might change, but you are more than your face." Jasmine closed her eyes. "Easy for you to say. You didn't lose yours." "Fair point." Rebecca appeared in the doorway. "Jazz, oh, thank God you're awake." "Rebecca," Jasmine's voice broke. "Did they find him?" "Not yet, but they will." Detective Rodriguez entered behind Rebecca. "Miss Carter, I'm Detective James Rodriguez. I need to ask you some questions if you're up for it." "Okay." The detective pulled up a chair. "Can you tell me what happened tonight?" Jasmine spoke slowly, her voice rough from the breathing tube. She described coming home from parent-teacher conferences, finding Marcus in the darkened kitchen, the bottle in his hand. "He said I ruined everything," she finished. "He said I should have left it alone." "Left what alone?" "I don't know. I found some charges on our credit card last week. Gambling websites. When I confronted him about it, he said it was nothing, that I was overreacting." Her face, what was visible of it behind the bandages, twisted with pain. "That's what got me this. Asking questions." Detective Rodriguez exchanged glances with David. "Mrs. Carter, we found Marcus's laptop in his abandoned car. There are some things you need to know." He told her about the gambling debts, the second mortgage, the stolen savings. Jasmine listened without expression. Then he told her about Desiree, about the affair that had lasted 8 months, the entire length of her pregnancy. Jasmine was quiet for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was eerily calm. "Did you say 8 months?" "Yes, ma'am." "My entire pregnancy?" "Yes." "I see." Jasmine stared at the ceiling. "He met someone else while I was growing his baby. He stole everything while I was planning our future, and then he tried to kill me because I found out." "That's what the evidence suggests." "Good. I want him in prison for the rest of his life. We're doing everything we can to find him." After the detective left, Rebecca pulled up a chair next to Jasmine's bed. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry. Not your fault. I should have—" "Stop." Jasmine's voice was firm despite her injuries. "This is not on you. This is on Marcus. Only Marcus." They sat in silence for a while. Then Jasmine asked the question David had been dreading. "Rebecca, tell me the truth. How bad is my face?" Rebecca's pause said everything. "That bad?" Jasmine whispered. "It's going to be okay," Rebecca said. "Dr. Mitchell is the best. Everyone says so. He'll fix this." But both women knew some things couldn't be fixed. Not completely. Not ever. David left them alone and went back to his office. It was 3 a.m. He should go home, get some sleep, come back in the morning. Instead, he sat at his desk and stared at 2 photos, side by side. Caroline at 3, Jasmine's intake photo from her medical file. The birthmarks matched perfectly. He made a decision he would question for the rest of his life. Pulling out his phone, he called the genetics lab at the hospital. This is Dr. Mitchell. I need to arrange a DNA test, paternity test, rush processing. The technician on the other end asked for details. David gave them. I'll need a sample from the patient, the technician said. I can get that in the morning when I check her surgical site. Just set it up. David hung up and immediately questioned his decision. What was he doing? This was insane. He was grasping at straws, seeing connections that didn't exist. But he couldn't let it go. Not until he knew for sure. If there was even a chance that Jasmine Carter was Caroline Mitchell, he had to know, even if the answer broke his heart all over again. 1 week after surgery, Jasmine woke to find Dr. Mitchell standing at the foot of her hospital bed with an envelope in his hands. His face looked like he hadn't slept. Rebecca was there too, having spent every night in that uncomfortable chair by the window. We need to talk, Dr. Mitchell said. Jasmine's hand went to her bandaged face. Is it bad? Did something go wrong with the surgery? No, the surgery was successful. This is about something else. He sat down slowly, like his legs wouldn't hold him anymore. Jasmine, I requested a DNA test, a paternity test. The results came back this morning. Rebecca stood up. Wait, what? David, what are you talking about? That birthmark behind your ear, Dr. Mitchell said, looking at Jasmine. I've seen it before, on my daughter. She disappeared 26 years ago when she was 3 years old. The room tilted. Jasmine gripped the bed rails. You think I'm your daughter? I don't think. I know. Dr. Mitchell opened the envelope with shaking hands. 99.99% probability. You're Caroline Mitchell. You're my daughter. No. Jasmine shook her head, and the movement sent pain shooting across her face. No, that's impossible. My name is Jasmine Carter. I grew up in foster care. I don't have parents. You do. You have me. Dr. Mitchell's voice cracked. Your mother, Lisa, she had postpartum psychosis. She took you when you were 3. Disappeared. I searched everywhere. 3 months later, she died in a car accident in Alabama. You weren't in the car. The police never found you. Rebecca moved closer to the bed. Jazz, oh my God. I was placed in foster care in Alabama, Jasmine whispered. Billings, Alabama, when I was 3 or 4. I don't remember anything before that. That's where Lisa died, rural highway outside Billings. Dr. Mitchell pulled out his phone, showed her a photo. A little girl in a yellow sundress, holding a teddy bear, smiling at the camera. Behind her ear, barely visible, was a crescent moon birthmark. This is you. This is Caroline. This is my daughter. Jasmine stared at the photo. The little girl's face meant nothing to her, just a stranger. I don't remember, she said. I should remember my own childhood, but I don't. You were 3. Most people don't have clear memories from that age. But you do. You remember everything about her. About me. Jasmine felt anger rising, hot and sudden. Where were you? I spent 26 years in foster care, 6 different homes. Nobody wanted me. Where were you? Dr. Mitchell flinched like she'd hit him. Looking in all the wrong places. Your mother used fake names when she ran. By the time we found her body, the trail was cold. You'd been placed under a different name. Jane Doe turned into Jasmine Carter when the state couldn't find your family. I was never adopted. I aged out at 18. I know. God, Jasmine, I know. The system failed you. I failed you. Yes, you did. The words hung in the air. Harsh, true, necessary. Rebecca cleared her throat. Jazz, maybe you should what? Be happy? My husband just tried to kill me. My face is destroyed. I'm 6 months pregnant and homeless because Marcus stole everything. And now you're telling me my entire identity is a lie? Jasmine's voice rose. I don't know who I am anymore. The baby kicked. Hard. Jasmine counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe. Survive. Keep going. I need you to leave, Jasmine said quietly. Both of you. I need to be alone. Dr. Mitchell stood. I understand. But Jasmine, Caroline, whoever you want to be, I'm not going anywhere. I've waited 26 years. I can wait a little longer. After they left, Jasmine cried until she threw up. Then she called the nurse and asked for a mirror. "Mrs. Carter, maybe you should wait. Now, please." The nurse brought a small hand mirror. Jasmine looked at her reflection for the first time since the attack. The woman staring back was a stranger. Swollen, discolored skin stretched tight over her bones. Red patches mixed with white patches where the acid had burned deepest. She looked like a medical diagram of tissue damage. She touched her face gently. The sensation was dull, muted. Parts of her face had lost feeling completely. "I don't know you," she whispered to the reflection. "I don't know who you are." Her phone rang. Detective Rodriguez. "Mrs. Carter, we found him. We found Marcus." Jasmine's heart stopped. "Where?" "Pennsylvania, hiding in an abandoned hunting cabin about 40 miles outside Philadelphia. State police took him into custody an hour ago." "Is he talking?" "He's saying it was temporary insanity, that you were controlling, that he snapped under pressure." Detective Rodriguez's voice was tight with anger. "He's lying, Mrs. Carter. The evidence proves he planned this for weeks." "When is he coming back?" "We're extraditing him today. He'll be arraigned tomorrow morning. The DA wants to move fast before his lawyer files more motions." "Good. I want to be there." "Mrs. Carter, you're still in the hospital." "I said I want to be there. I need to look him in the eye." Detective Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "All right, I'll arrange it." The next morning, Dr. Mitchell wheeled Jasmine into the courthouse in a wheelchair. Her face was still bandaged, but she refused to stay in the hospital for this. Rebecca walked beside them, her hand on Jasmine's shoulder. The courtroom was packed. Media everywhere. Cameras flashing despite the judge's orders. Jasmine kept her head up, her hand on her pregnant belly. Then Marcus was brought in. He looked smaller in the orange jumpsuit, thinner. His hair was messy, his eyes darting around the courtroom nervously. When he saw Jasmine, he stopped walking. Just for a second. Then his lawyer nudged him forward. Jasmine stared at him. This man who'd promised to love her, who'd slept beside her every night, who'd felt their baby kick and smiled, who'd thrown acid in her face and left her to die. Marcus looked away first. The arraignment was quick. The charges read aloud: attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, fraud, identity theft. Each charge another nail in Marcus's coffin. "How does the defendant plead?" the judge asked. Marcus's lawyer stood. "Not guilty, Your Honor. Will be pursuing a defense of temporary insanity due to extreme financial and emotional stress." Jasmine laughed. She couldn't help it. The sound was bitter, ugly. The judge looked at her. "Ma'am, are you all right?" "No, Your Honor, I'm not all right, but I will be when he's in prison." After the arraignment, Jasmine went back to the hospital to find a woman waiting in her room. Mid-30s, blonde, expensive suit. She stood when Jasmine entered. "Mrs. Carter, I'm Desiree Cole." Jasmine's blood went cold. "Get out." "Please, I need to talk to you. I need to explain. You need to explain how you slept with my husband while I was pregnant with his child. Get out of my room before I call security." "I didn't know." Desiree's voice broke. "I swear I didn't know about the attack. Marcus told me you were separated, that you were unstable. He showed me texts he claimed were from you, threatening to hurt yourself if he left. I thought I was saving him. And you believed him." "Yes, I'm ashamed of that, but yes." Desiree pulled a folder from her bag. "When I heard what he did to you, I went through everything. Financial records, emails, text messages. I found this." She handed Jasmine the folder. Inside was a life insurance policy. Policyholder, Marcus Carter. Insured, Jasmine Carter. Benefit, $500,000. Beneficiary, Marcus Carter. "He took this out 2 months before the attack," Desiree said. "He was going to kill you for the money." Jasmine's hands shook. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I gave him the name of the chemical supply warehouse where he bought the acid. He told me he needed industrial cleaners for the office. I didn't know, but I helped him, and I need to make that right." "How?" "I'm testifying against him. Everything. The affair, the financial records, the insurance policy. I'm going to help put him away. Jasmine looked at this woman. This other woman Marcus had manipulated and used. And despite everything, she felt something like kinship. Testify, Jasmine said. Show everyone who Marcus Carter really is. After Desiree left, Rebecca came back in. That was big of you. I didn't do it for her. I did it for me. For our baby. Jasmine touched her belly. She needs to know her father is in prison so she can sleep at night. Have you thought about names yet? No, I can't think about that until I know we're both going to survive this. 3 days later, Grace Holloway arrived. The hospital social worker was a kind woman in her 50s with warm brown eyes and terrible news. Jasmine, we need to discuss your financial situation. I don't have any finances. Marcus took everything. It's worse than that. Grace pulled out paperwork. Marcus took out a second mortgage on your house, forged your signature. The bank is foreclosing. The room spun. What? You're going to lose the house. I'm sorry. Where am I supposed to go? I have a baby coming in 3 months. There are resources for domestic violence victims, emergency housing, financial assistance programs. I'm a teacher. I have income. Your salary has been garnished. Grace's voice was gentle, but the words were devastating. Marcus maxed out credit cards in your name, took out loans using your social security number. Your credit score is destroyed. Jasmine couldn't breathe. 6 months pregnant, disfigured, financially ruined, homeless. I can't do this, she whispered. I can't survive this. Grace sat down beside her. Yes, you can. You already are. He tried to kill you, and you crawled to that door. You protected your baby. You're still here. That takes incredible strength. I don't feel strong. Strength isn't a feeling. It's a choice. And every day you wake up, every day you keep fighting, that's you choosing strength. After Grace left, Jasmine sat alone in the dark. It was 2 a.m. The hospital was quiet except for the beep of monitors and distant voices of night shift nurses. Her phone buzzed, a text from Dr. Mitchell. I know you need space, but I have 3 empty bedrooms in my house. You and the baby can stay as long as you need. No pressure, just an offer. You're my daughter. Let me help. Jasmine stared at the message. This man was a stranger, but he was also her father. The father who'd been searching for her for 26 years while she bounced through foster homes, wondering why nobody wanted her. She typed back, I need time to think. His response came immediately. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. The next morning, Rebecca brought clothes from Jasmine's house before the bank locked her out. Standing in the closet they'd shared, seeing Marcus's suits still hanging there like nothing had happened, had broken something in Rebecca. I packed everything I could, Rebecca said, setting down 3 suitcases. Your clothes, your photos, your books. The furniture's still there, but the bank said, it's okay, material things. I'm alive. The baby's alive. That's what matters. You're being too calm about this. What else can I be? If I start crying, I won't stop. Rebecca hugged her carefully, avoiding the bandages. You can cry, Jazz. You're allowed to break down. Not yet. Not until Marcus is convicted. Then I'll break down. Dr. Mitchell came by that afternoon with a teddy bear. It had 1 missing eye and fur worn smooth from decades of being held. This was yours, he said, when you were 3. You named him Mr. Buttons. You took him everywhere. Jasmine took the bear. It smelled old, like attics and memories she couldn't access. I don't remember him. I know, but I do. You loved this bear more than anything. Dr. Mitchell sat down. I kept your room exactly the same. Your toys, your books, your little bed with the pink comforter, everything, waiting for you to come home. That's heartbreaking. That's fatherhood. Jasmine traced the bear's missing eye. Why only 1 eye? You were 2 years old. You pulled it off trying to see what was inside. Your mother was horrified, but you just laughed. You thought it made him special. A fragment of memory surfaced, fuzzy, indistinct. A woman laughing. The smell of lavender. Did my mother wear lavender perfume? Dr. Mitchell's eyes widened. She used lavender lotion. Every night before bed, she'd rub it on your arms and sing to you. I remember the smell, nothing else, just lavender. That's something. That's more than nothing. They sat in silence for a while. Then Jasmine asked, what was she like before the illness? Dr. Mitchell's face softened. Beautiful, kind. She loved art, wanted to teach painting to kids. You were her whole world. She'd spend hours just watching you play, sketching you. We have boxes of her drawings upstairs. Just you, playing, sleeping, laughing. What happened to her? Postpartum psychosis. It usually shows up in the first few weeks after birth, but Lisa's came later, around your second birthday. She started having delusions, paranoid thoughts. She became convinced people were trying to hurt you, that I was part of some conspiracy. His voice broke. I tried to get her help, but I didn't understand how serious it was. I thought it was normal stress, new parent anxiety. By the time I realized she was really sick, she'd already planned to run. She thought she was protecting me. She did. In her mind, she was saving you from terrible danger. She left a note saying she'd bring you back when it was safe. But she died instead. Yes, single car accident, no other vehicles involved. The police think she fell asleep at the wheel. Or maybe the psychosis made her see something that wasn't there. We'll never know. And I wasn't in the car. No, the police believe she left you somewhere hours before the accident. Maybe with a stranger she trusted in her delusional state. Maybe at a church or fire station. 3 days later, a park ranger found you wandering alone in a park outside Billings. You couldn't or wouldn't tell anyone your name. Jasmine processed this. I don't remember any of it. Maybe that's a mercy. You don't remember the worst parts. But I also don't remember the good parts. I don't remember you. I don't remember being loved. You were loved. Dr. Mitchell's voice was fierce now. So deeply loved, every single day. That night, Jasmine had another dream. She was 3 years old, wearing red rain boots with frogs on them, jumping in puddles. A woman watched her, laughing, clapping. The woman had kind eyes and smelled like lavender. "Higher, Mama," Dream Jasmine shouted. "Be careful, Caroline," the woman said. Jasmine woke up crying. The first real memory that felt true. The first glimpse of who she used to be. Caroline Sinclair had been loved, even if Jasmine Morgan Carter couldn't remember. 1 week later, the bandages came off for the first time. Dr. Mitchell had warned her the scars would still be red, angry, fresh, that this was just the beginning of reconstruction. Jasmine insisted on being alone with the mirror. When she finally looked, really looked, she saw a face that was hers, but also not hers. The shape was wrong. The texture was wrong. Parts were smooth where skin grafts had been placed. Parts were rough where acid had eaten deepest. But she could see her eyes, still her eyes, still hazel with green flecks. The one thing Marcus hadn't taken. "Hello," she said to her reflection. "I'm Jasmine." "No, I'm Caroline." "No." She paused, tried again. "I'm both. I'm whoever I decide to be." The baby kicked 7 times in quick succession. "And I'm your mama," Jasmine added. "That's the most important thing." Dr. Mitchell knocked on the door. "Can I come in?" "Yes." He entered, saw her holding the mirror, and sat down quietly. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think I look different. I think I'll always look different." "Does that scare you?" "Everything scares me right now, but I'm still here, still fighting." "That's all anyone can ask." Jasmine set down the mirror. "I've been thinking about your offer, the bedrooms in your house." "Yes?" "I'll come, after the baby's born, but we need ground rules." "Name them." "You don't get to make decisions for me. I'm not 3 anymore." "Agreed. And I pay rent when I can. I'm not a charity case." "Jasmine, I need this. I need to contribute something." Dr. Mitchell nodded. "We'll figure out a fair arrangement. And you don't call me Caroline. I'm Jasmine. That's who I've been for 26 years. "I understand." "Do you? Because you lost Caroline. But I never knew her. To me, she's a stranger." "Then we'll build something new, not replacing what was lost, creating what is." Jasmine looked at this man. her father, her surgeon, her stranger. "Okay," she said, "I'll come home." The word felt foreign in her mouth. Home. She'd never really had one. Maybe it was time to find out what home meant. 2 days before Jasmine was discharged from the hospital, District Attorney Monica Chen came to prepare her for trial. Monica was a fierce black woman in her early 40s who'd built her career prosecuting domestic violence cases. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Marcus's defense attorney filed his strategy this morning," Monica said, dropping a thick folder on Jasmine's bed. "Robert Morrison. He's good. Expensive. Someone's paying for him, and it's not Marcus." "Who?" "His parents. They're convinced their son is innocent, that you drove him to it." Jasmine's laugh was sharp. "Of course they are." "Morrison's going to argue temporary insanity. He'll say Marcus snapped under financial pressure that you created, that you were controlling, demanding, unstable during your pregnancy." "That's a lie." "I know, but he's going to paint you as the villain who pushed a good man too far. He'll bring up the prenatal depression in your medical records. Make it sound like you were dangerous." "I was on medication for 3 weeks. My doctor said it was completely normal." Normal doesn't matter to a jury. What matters is the story Morrison tells. Monica pulled out photos, crime scene images, Jasmine's destroyed face, the acid bottle, Marcus's search history. "But we have evidence, hard evidence. The purchased acid 3 weeks early, the insurance policy, the affair, the stolen money, the laptop searches about prison sentences for acid attacks." This wasn't a man who snapped. This was premeditated, attempted murder. Will it be enough? If you're willing to testify. If you can sit in that courtroom and tell the jury exactly what he did to you while he stares at you from the defense table. Jasmine touched her scarred face. "I can do that. He's going to try to break you on cross-examination, make you cry, make you angry, make you look unstable." "Well, then I won't give him the satisfaction," Monica smiled. "Good. We start jury selection in 2 weeks. Trial begins 3 days after that." After Monica left, Dr. Mitchell came in with surgical plans for the second reconstruction. "We need to do another procedure before the trial," he said. "Refine the grafts, reduce the scarring, improve the symmetry. It's a 6-hour surgery. Are you ready?" "Will it make me look more human?" "You already look human. You look like a survivor. That's not what I see in the mirror." Dr. Mitchell sat down. "What do you see?" "A monster. Someone my baby won't recognize. Someone juries will pity instead of believe." "Then we fix that. Together. One surgery at a time." The second surgery happened on a cold December morning. Jasmine went under anesthesia counting her baby's kicks. 1 through 23. Each kick a reminder to wake up, to survive, to keep fighting. Dr. Mitchell worked for 7 hours. Skin grafts from Jasmine's thigh to smooth her cheeks. Cartilage from her ribs to rebuild her nose. Careful, meticulous work to restore symmetry, to give her back a face she could recognize. When Jasmine woke up in recovery, the pain was worse than the first surgery. Everything burned. Everything ached. "How do you feel?" the recovery nurse asked. "Like I was hit by a truck." "That's normal. Dr. Mitchell said the grafts took beautifully. You're healing ahead of schedule." Rebecca was there when they moved Jasmine back to her room, sitting in that same chair she'd occupied for weeks now. "I brought something," Rebecca said, pulling out a laptop. "Your students made you a video." She pressed play. 22 third graders appeared on screen, sitting in a classroom Jasmine knew by heart. "Hi, Miss Carter," they chorused. Little Marcus Jr. spoke first. "We miss you. Mr. Henderson is okay, but he doesn't do voices when he reads stories like you do." Sophie held up a drawing. "I drew you and baby Carter. You're both smiling." Jamal waved. "Get better soon. We're learning fractions, and I still don't get it." Tears streamed down Jasmine's face, burning in the fresh surgical wounds. She didn't care. "Tell them I miss them too," Jasmine said. "Tell them I'm coming back." "Are you sure? Monica said the trial could take weeks." "I'm sure. Those kids need to know that bad things happen, but you don't give up. You keep going. 3 days later, Marcus's lawyer filed a motion to delay the trial, citing excessive media attention from the father-daughter reunion story. Judge Patricia Williams denied it within hours. Mr. Morrison, your client is accused of throwing acid on his pregnant wife's face, Judge Williams wrote in her ruling. Media attention is warranted. Trial proceeds as scheduled. Monica called Jasmine with the news. We're moving forward. Jury selection starts Monday. Good. I'm ready. There's something else. Vanessa Cole wants to testify. She's willing to detail the affair, the financial manipulation, everything Marcus told her about you. Let her testify. She's also bringing evidence we didn't have. Emails between Marcus and a life insurance agent. He asked about payout timelines if you died while pregnant. Asked if suicide would void the policy. This was 2 months before the attack. Jasmine felt cold. He'd been planning this for months. Yes, and Vanessa's testimony proves it. On the first day of jury selection, Jasmine sat in the courtroom wearing a long-sleeved dress Rebecca had bought her. Her scars were visible, angry red lines across her cheeks and forehead, but she refused to hide them. Marcus was brought in wearing a suit his parents had provided. He looked thinner, older, but when he glanced at Jasmine, he smiled. Actually smiled, like they were sharing some private joke. Jasmine stared back until he looked away. Jury selection took 3 days. 12 jurors, 6 alternates, 7 women, 5 men, diverse ages, races, backgrounds. Monica was pleased. They're parents, she said. 8 of them have children. They're going to look at you, 6 months pregnant, and imagine their own daughters. That's good for us. The trial began on a Monday morning in January. The courtroom was packed with media, spectators, domestic violence advocates. Jasmine sat at the prosecution table between Monica and a victim advocate named Sarah, who held her hand when it shook. Judge Williams gavelled the room to order. The State of Georgia versus Marcus Anthony Carter. Opening statements. Monica stood. She was magnificent, calm, clear, devastating. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a simple case. Marcus Carter planned to murder his wife for insurance money. He researched how to do it. He purchased the weapon. He waited until she was 6 months pregnant and vulnerable. Then he threw industrial sulfuric acid in her face and walked away, leaving her to burn to death on their kitchen floor. Monica clicked a remote. Crime scene photos appeared on the screen. Gasps from the jury box. The defense will tell you Marcus snapped, that he couldn't help himself, but the evidence will show you the truth. This was premeditated, calculated, cold-blooded attempted murder, and we're going to prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. Robert Morrison stood for the defense. He was in his 60s, silver-haired, grandfatherly. Marcus Carter is not a monster, Morrison began. He's a man who made a terrible mistake, a man drowning in debt, trapped in a controlling marriage, suffering from undiagnosed mental illness. On that October night, something in Marcus broke. His mind snapped under pressure. What happened to Mrs. Carter is tragic, horrific, but it was not murder. It was a psychotic break from a man who'd lost all hope. We ask you to see the human being behind this terrible act, to understand that mental illness is real, and to find that Marcus Carter was not in his right mind when this happened. Jasmine wanted to scream. Mental illness, as if that excused throwing acid on your pregnant wife. The prosecution's first witness was Mrs. Washington. The elderly neighbor walked to the stand with dignity, wearing her church clothes. Mrs. Washington, please tell the jury what you witnessed on the night of October 15th, Monica said. I heard screaming, terrible screaming, like nothing I've ever heard in 40 years as an ER nurse. I ran outside and saw Jasmine on her porch. Her face was... Mrs. Washington's voice broke. I'm sorry. Her face was melting. That's the only word for it. The skin was just melting off. What did you do? Called 911, told her not to touch her face, tried to keep her calm, but she kept saying, my baby, my baby. She was more worried about her baby than herself. Did you see the defendant that night? No, Jasmine said he drove away, left her there to die. Morrison's cross-examination was gentle. Mrs. Washington, you didn't actually see what happened inside the house, did you? No, sir. So you can't testify to Mr. Carter's state of mind? I can testify that a man who leaves his pregnant wife burning on the ground isn't in any state of mind that's acceptable. Judge Williams intervened. Just answer the questions, Mrs. Washington. Next came the paramedics. Devin and Sarah described Jasmine's injuries in clinical detail. The jury looked sick. Then Detective Rodriguez took the stand. Detective, please tell the jury what you found in the defendant's abandoned vehicle, Monica said. A laptop. In his rush to flee, Mr. Carter left it on the passenger seat. What did forensic analysis reveal? Rodriguez pulled out a printed report. Searches for acid attacks, specifically how to cause maximum disfigurement. Searches for prison sentences in Georgia for assault and attempted murder. Visits to chemical supply websites. And this is interesting. He also searched how long does acid take to kill someone, and can acid attack be ruled accidental? When were these searches conducted? Between September 20th and October 14th. The attack happened October 15th. So for nearly a month, Mr. Carter was researching how to attack his wife? Yes, ma'am. Morrison tried to shake Rodriguez on cross. Detective, isn't it possible Mr. Carter was researching these things out of idle curiosity? People search disturbing things online all the time. People don't usually act on those searches by purchasing industrial acid and throwing it in their pregnant wife's face. The courtroom erupted. Judge Williams gavelled for order. On day 3, Vanessa Cole took the stand. She looked terrified, hands trembling as she was sworn in. Ms. Cole, how did you know the defendant? Monica asked. We worked together at Pinnacle Financial Group. We started having an affair 8 months before the attack. Did Mr. Carter tell you he was married? Yes, he said he was separated, that his wife was unstable and controlling, that she threatened suicide if he tried to leave. Did you believe him? Vanessa's voice broke. Yes, he was very convincing. He showed me text messages supposedly from Jasmine. Horrible, threatening messages. I thought I was helping him escape an abusive situation. Were those messages real? No. I learned later he'd fabricated them using a spoofing app. Monica showed the jury screenshots. What else did Mr. Carter tell you? He said after the divorce was final, he'd have money to start over, that we could be together, build a life. Did he specify where this money would come from? He mentioned a life insurance policy, said it was from his job. I didn't think anything of it at the time. When did you learn the truth? Vanessa started crying. When I saw the news. When I saw what he'd done to her. I went through everything. Found the policy. Found emails between Marcus and an insurance agent asking about payout timelines if Jasmine died while pregnant. Asking if suicide would void the policy. This was 2 months before the attack. The jury was riveted. Morrison's cross-examination was brutal. Ms. Cole, you were sleeping with a married man. Why should we believe you're telling the truth now? Because I am. I was wrong to have the affair. I was wrong to believe his lies. But I'm not lying about this. Isn't it convenient that you're cooperating with prosecutors, perhaps hoping to avoid being charged as an accessory? I'm cooperating because what Marcus did is unforgivable, and because I helped him without knowing it. I gave him the name of the chemical supply company. He told me he needed industrial cleaners for the office. I'm guilty of being stupid and naive, but Marcus is guilty of attempted murder. On day 5, Rebecca testified. She described watching Marcus isolate Jasmine over 8 months, control her finances, gaslight her about the gambling. Jasmine defended him, Rebecca said. Every time I raised concerns, she had an explanation. He's stressed. He's worried about money. He's tired. She couldn't see what I saw, that he was systematically breaking her down. Why didn't she leave? Morrison asked on cross-examination. Because abuse doesn't start with acid. It starts small, little criticisms, subtle isolation. By the time it escalates, the victim believes they deserve it. So you're saying Mrs. Carter was weak? Rebecca's eyes flashed. I'm saying she's human, and humans want to believe the people they love won't hurt them, but Marcus proved that love meant nothing to him, and now Jasmine knows she's stronger than she ever imagined. On day 7, it was Jasmine's turn. Monica had prepared her for this. Stay calm, answer clearly, look at the jury, not at Marcus. Tell the truth. Jasmine walked to the witness stand. Her baby kicked as she sat down. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. She placed her hand on the Bible. I do. Monica began gently. Mrs. Carter, please tell the jury about October 15th, the night you were attacked. I came home from parent-teacher conferences around 8:30. I was tired, pregnant, looking forward to putting my feet up. Jasmine's voice was steady. Marcus was in the kitchen. The lights were off. I could see him holding something, but I didn't know what. When I asked what was wrong, he said I'd ruined everything, that I couldn't leave things alone. Then he threw acid in my face. What happened next? Pain. Immediate, intense pain. Like my face was on fire. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I fell to my knees. What did the defendant do? He dropped the bottle and walked out, left me crawling toward the door, left me to die. Monica showed the jury photos of Jasmine's injuries. Several jurors looked away. Mrs. Carter, had there been warning signs before the attack? Yes, Marcus became secretive about 8 months before, defensive when I asked about finances, angry when I questioned late nights at work. 2 days before the attack, I found gambling charges on our credit card. When I confronted him, he said it was nothing. How did that make you feel? Betrayed, scared. But I thought we could work through it. I thought marriage meant facing problems together. Jasmine paused. I was wrong. Marcus didn't want to face problems. He wanted to eliminate them. He wanted to eliminate me. Then Morrison stood for cross-examination. This was the moment Jasmine had been dreading. Mrs. Carter, you admit you confronted my client about finances. You were angry, weren't you? I was concerned. My husband had stolen our savings. So you argued with him? We had a discussion. A heated discussion? Yes. And you threatened to leave him, didn't you? After I found out about the affair, yes. So you threatened his entire life, his home, his child, his future. Jasmine felt her anger rising. I threatened to leave a marriage built on lies. That's not the same as throwing acid on someone's face. But you pushed him, cornered him, made him feel trapped. Nothing I did made him try to murder me. That was his choice. Morrison paced. Mrs. Carter, according to your medical records, you suffered from prenatal depression. You were prescribed medication. For 3 weeks, my doctor said it was completely normal. But you were unstable during your pregnancy? I was never unstable, and even if I was, that doesn't justify attempted murder. Morrison changed tactics. You recently discovered you're the daughter of Dr. David Mitchell, a wealthy plastic surgeon. Isn't that convenient? Monica objected. Relevance, Your Honor? Sustained. But Morrison had planted the seed. Mrs. Carter, you're suing my client for damages. You have a financial incentive to see him convicted. I have a personal incentive to see him in prison, so he never does this to anyone else. Or so you can profit from your victimhood? Jasmine leaned forward. I was 6 months pregnant. I weighed 140. Marcus is 6'2", 200 pounds. If he felt threatened by me asking about money, he could have left. He could have gotten therapy. He could have done anything except try to burn my face off while I was carrying his child. The jury was riveting. No further questions, Morrison said quickly. As Jasmine started to stand, she felt it. A gush of warmth between her legs. Her water had broken. My baby, she gasped. The courtroom erupted. Judge Williams called for paramedics. Dr. Mitchell rushed forward from the gallery. I need to get to the hospital, Jasmine said. Now. And Marcus, sitting at the defense table, looked annoyed. Actually annoyed that his trial was being interrupted by the baby he'd tried to kill. The jury saw his face, saw that flash of irritation, saw exactly who Marcus Carter really was. The baby was coming fast. Dr. Mitchell held Jasmine's hand in the ambulance. Rebecca followed in her car. Monica called from the courthouse. Judge Williams recessed for 3 days. But Jasmine, the jury saw Marcus's face when your water broke. They saw him look annoyed. That might have won us the case right there. Jasmine barely heard her. The contractions were intense, coming every 2 minutes. "We're almost there," Dr. Mitchell said. "You're doing great." "I can't do this. Not now. Not like this." "Yes, you can. You're the strongest person I know." At Sacred Heart, they rushed her into delivery. Dr. Patel was already there, gloved and ready. "Okay, Jasmine, it's time to push." 4 hours of labor, 4 hours of pain. But compared to what Marcus had done to her, this pain had purpose. This pain was bringing life. At 6:47 p.m., Maya Hope Carter Mitchell was born. 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Perfect. Healthy. Screaming her displeasure at the world. They placed her on Jasmine's chest. The baby quieted immediately, her tiny eyes trying to focus on her mother's face. "Hello, Maya Hope," Jasmine whispered. "I'm your mama, and nobody is ever going to hurt you, I promise." Dr. Mitchell stood beside the bed, tears streaming down his face. "May I?" Jasmine nodded. He took his granddaughter's tiny hand. "Hello, little one. I'm your papa, and I'm going to make up for every day I wasn't there for your mother." Rebecca was crying too. "She's perfect, Jazz. She's absolutely perfect." She is. Jasmine couldn't stop staring at her daughter, this tiny human she'd protected through everything. "We did it, baby girl. We survived." 3 days later, Jasmine was back in court, with Maya Hope sleeping in a carrier beside her. The jury had sent word they wanted to continue. They'd seen enough. Closing arguments were powerful. Monica reminded the jury of every piece of evidence: the purchased acid, the insurance policy, the laptop searches, the cold calculation of a man who'd planned his wife's murder for weeks. Morrison argued mental illness, temporary insanity, a good man pushed too far. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they filed back in, Jasmine held Rebecca's hand on one side and Dr. Mitchell's on the other. Maya Hope slept peacefully, unaware that her father's future was about to be decided. On the charge of attempted murder in the first degree, "How do you find?" Judge Williams asked. The jury foreman stood. He was a black man in his 60s who'd worked as a teacher for 40 years. He looked directly at Marcus. "Guilty." Jasmine's knees went weak. On the charge of assault with a deadly weapon, guilty. On the charges of fraud and identity theft, guilty on all counts. Marcus showed no emotion, just stared straight ahead, but Jasmine saw his hands trembling. Sentencing was set for 2 weeks later. When that day came, Judge Williams looked at Marcus with unconcealed disgust. "Mr. Carter, I've been a judge for 23 years. I've seen many terrible things, but you are among the most depraved defendants to ever stand in my courtroom. You planned to murder your pregnant wife for insurance money. You researched the weapon. You purchased it. You waited for the perfect moment. Then you threw acid in her face and walked away. You showed no remorse, no humanity. You are a predator in human form." Judge Williams paused. "I sentence you to 40 years to life in prison. No possibility of parole for 35 years. You will be 72 years old before you can even apply for release. Perhaps by then, you'll have learned what it means to be human." The gavel fell. It was over. Marcus was led away in chains. He didn't look at Jasmine, didn't look at Maya Hope, just walked out like he was going to a business meeting. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. Jasmine stopped and faced the cameras. "I want to say something," she announced. The crowd quieted. "To anyone watching who's in an abusive relationship, please hear me. Abuse doesn't start with acid. It starts with small things: isolation, control, gaslighting. If someone makes you feel small, if someone makes you doubt yourself, if someone makes you afraid, that's abuse, and you deserve better. You deserve safety. You deserve love. Please reach out. You can survive this. I'm proof." Then she walked away. Dr. Mitchell carried Maya Hope. Rebecca held Jasmine's hand. Marcus Carter was gone, locked away for decades, and Jasmine Sinclair was finally free. The house on Willow Creek Drive was nothing like the foster homes Jasmine remembered. Dr. Mitchell pulled into the driveway 2 days after the trial ended, Maya Hope asleep in her car seat, Jasmine staring at the colonial-style home with the wraparound porch. "This is it," Dr. Mitchell said quietly. "This is home." Jasmine didn't move. Home. The words still felt foreign. Rebecca pulled up behind them with the suitcases that contained everything Jasmine owned now. 3 suitcases. 29 years of life reduced to 3 suitcases because Marcus had stolen everything else. "You ready?" Dr. Mitchell asked. "No, but let's do it anyway." Inside, the house smelled like lemon polish and fresh paint. Dr. Mitchell had clearly cleaned everything, prepared everything. He showed her the bedroom he'd set up for her. Queen bed, soft blue walls, windows overlooking the garden. "There's a nursery next door," he said. "I converted my home office. Rebecca helped me pick out the furniture." Jasmine walked into the nursery. Crib with a mobile, changing table, rocking chair by the window. Everything new, everything perfect, everything chosen with care. "This is too much," she said. "It's not nearly enough. 26 years worth of birthdays and Christmases. This doesn't even begin to cover it." Jasmine turned to face him. "I don't know how to do this, how to have a father. I don't know how to be a father to a grown daughter either, so we'll figure it out together." Rebecca brought Maya Hope inside, the baby starting to fuss. Jasmine took her, settled into the rocking chair, and started nursing. Dr. Mitchell watched for a moment, then quietly left. "He's trying so hard," Rebecca said. "I know. That's what scares me. What if I can't be what he needs? What if I'm not Caroline?" "You don't have to be Caroline. You just have to be you." That night, Jasmine couldn't sleep. She walked through the house at 2 a.m., Maya Hope against her chest, counting the baby's breaths, 1 through 47, each breath a small miracle. She found herself standing outside a closed door at the end of the hall, the door Dr. Mitchell had mentioned but not opened, Caroline's room. Jasmine turned the handle. The room was frozen in 1999. A toddler bed with a pink comforter, stuffed animals on shelves, books stacked neatly, and on the dresser, a pair of bright red rain boots with frogs on them. Jasmine walked in slowly, touched the bed, the toys, the boots. These things belonged to a little girl who didn't exist anymore, a little girl who'd become Jasmine Carter without even knowing she'd been someone else first. She picked up the red boots. They were tiny, size 6, toddler. "You used to wear those everywhere," Dr. Mitchell's voice came from the doorway. "Even to bed sometimes. Your mother would find you asleep with your boots on." "I don't remember." "I do. That's enough for now." Jasmine set down the boots. "Why did you keep all this?" "Because hope is the only thing that kept me alive. Every birthday I'd come in here and imagine you, at 4, at 5, at 10, at 16. I'd update the picture in my mind. Wonder what you looked like, what you were doing. If you were happy," his voice broke. "Turns out you were alone, in foster care, and I hate myself for that." "It wasn't your fault, wasn't it? I married a woman with mental illness. I didn't get her help fast enough. I let her take you. She was sick. You didn't know." "I should have known." They stood in silence. Then Maya Hope made a small sound, and Dr. Mitchell smiled. "May I hold her?" Jasmine handed over the baby. Dr. Mitchell cradled his granddaughter with the ease of someone who'd done this before. "Hello, sweet girl. You look like your mama. Same eyes, same stubborn chin." "She has Marcus's nose." "No, she has your mother Lisa's nose. Trust me, I know that nose." Jasmine looked at her sleeping daughter. "Will you tell me more about Lisa, about my mother?" "Every day, as much as you want to hear." 1 week after moving in, Jasmine received a call from Principal Martinez at Washington Elementary. "Jasmine, how are you feeling?" "Getting stronger every day. The baby's healthy. We're doing okay." "Good, good. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about returning to work. Your position is still here. The substitute teacher is fine, but the kids keep asking when Miss Carter is coming back." "I want to come back, but Principal Martinez, my face, it's scarred. Some kids might be frightened." "Kids are more resilient than we think. And honestly, you teaching them about survival, about strength, that's worth more than any lesson plan." "When can I start?" Whenever you're ready, we'll support you however you need." Jasmine hung up and looked at Dr. Mitchell, who was feeding Maya Hope a bottle. "I'm going back to teaching." "Are you sure you're ready?" "No, but I need to do this. I need to show Maya Hope that you don't let fear win." 2 weeks later, Jasmine stood outside her third-grade classroom for the first time in 4 months. Her hands shook as she reached for the door handle. Inside, 22 students looked up. Their faces went through the same progression: curiosity, shock, some fear, then recognition. "Miss Carter!" They rushed toward her. Jasmine knelt down, letting them swarm her, little arms hugging her carefully, voices overlapping. "We missed you so much. Is that your baby? What happened to your face?" Marcus Jr. was the one who asked directly, just like Dr. Mitchell said kids would. "Miss Carter, why do you look different?" Jasmine took a breath. "Someone hurt me very badly, but I healed, and that's what I want you to remember. Bad things happen sometimes, but we can survive them. We're stronger than we think." Sophie raised her hand. "Does it hurt?" "Not anymore. It did at first, but now it's just part of me." Jamal spoke up. "My dad says scars make you a warrior. Your dad is very smart." The kids accepted her explanation and moved on. Within 10 minutes, they were back to normal, asking about fractions, complaining about homework, fighting over who got to hold the class hamster. But at pickup, one mother approached Jasmine nervously. "Miss Carter, I'm Brittany Morrison, Tyler's mom." "Hello, Mrs. Morrison. Tyler did great today." "That's good. Listen, I wanted to ask, are you planning to stay? Teaching, I mean?" "Yes, this is my class." Brittany Morrison shifted uncomfortably. "It's just some of the mothers are concerned about the children being exposed to, well, to violence, to trauma." Jasmine felt her face flush. "I didn't bring violence into this classroom. Violence was done to me. There's a difference." I know, but Tyler had nightmares last night. He said you looked scary." "Then maybe you should teach Tyler that people who survive terrible things deserve compassion, not fear." Brittany Morrison left quickly. Jasmine stood in the empty classroom, hands shaking. Principal Martinez found her 20 minutes later, still standing there. "What happened?" "A parent thinks I'm too scary to teach her child." "Which parent?" "Brittany Morrison." Principal Martinez's face hardened. "I'll handle it. You focus on your students." But that night, Jasmine couldn't stop thinking about Tyler's nightmares, about being called scary. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. The scars were still red, still angry. The grafts had taken well, but she'd never looked like she did before. Maya Hope started crying. Jasmine picked her up, started nursing her, and the baby's little hand reached up to touch Jasmine's scarred cheek. "You're not afraid, are you, baby girl? You just see Mama." Dr. Mitchell knocked on the door. "Everything okay?" "A parent said I'm scary, that I give her kid nightmares." "That parent is an idiot." "What if she's right? What if more parents complain? What if I lose my job?" "Then we sue for discrimination. But that's not going to happen. Principal Martinez loves you. The kids love you. One ignorant parent doesn't change that." The next day, Principal Martinez called an assembly. All the parents were invited. Jasmine stood on stage, terrified. "I want to address some concerns that have been raised," Principal Martinez began. "Some of you are worried about Miss Carter returning to teach because of her appearance, so I'm going to let her speak for herself." Jasmine stepped forward. 40 parents stared at her. She saw Brittany Morrison in the third row looking uncomfortable. "My name is Jasmine Carter. 4 months ago, my husband threw acid in my face while I was 6 months pregnant. He tried to kill me. He failed. I survived. I gave birth to a healthy daughter. I pressed charges. He was convicted and sentenced to 40 years in prison." Jasmine paused. "My face will never look the way it did before. These scars are permanent, but they don't make me less capable of teaching your children. They make me more capable, because I can teach them about resilience, about courage, about surviving the worst and still showing up. If that scares you, if my scars make you uncomfortable, then maybe you should ask yourself why. Because your children aren't scared. Your children see a teacher who came back, who didn't give up. And that's the lesson I'm here to teach. The room was silent. Then one parent started clapping. Then another. Then the entire auditorium stood and applauded. Brittany Morrison left without making eye contact. Principal Martinez walked Jasmine back to her classroom. That was incredible. I was shaking the whole time. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. That afternoon, Jasmine received a call from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Jasmine Carter? Yes? This is Patricia Carter, Marcus's mother. Jasmine's blood went cold. What do you want? I want to talk about my granddaughter, about Maya Hope. You don't have a granddaughter. Marcus gave up any rights to Maya when he tried to murder me. Marcus made a mistake. He was under tremendous pressure. You pushed him to it. Jasmine laughed bitterly. Is that what he told you? That I pushed him to throw acid in my face? Marcus said you were unstable, that you threatened him, that he feared for his safety. Your son researched how to kill me for 3 weeks. He bought acid. He waited in the dark. He threw it in my face while I was pregnant. Then he walked out and left me to die. That's not fear. That's premeditated murder. We don't believe that. We think you're lying to get money from him. I don't want his money. I want him in prison where he belongs. We're filing for grandparents' rights. We want visitation with Maya Hope. Jasmine's hand tightened on the phone. Over my dead body. We'll see you in court. The line went dead. Jasmine called Monica Chen immediately. The DA was furious. They can't do this. Marcus was convicted of attempted murder. He has no parental rights. But they're his parents. Do grandparents have rights in Georgia? Only if they can prove it's in the child's best interest. And no judge is going to say it's in Maya Hope's best interest to be around people who defend her father's attempt to murder her mother. You're sure? I'm sure. File a restraining order. I'll draft it myself. But that night, Jasmine couldn't sleep. She held Maya Hope and counted her breaths. 1 through 93. What if Marcus's parents somehow got visitation? What if they poisoned Maya against her? Dr. Mitchell found her at 3 a.m., still awake, still counting. Talk to me, he said. Marcus's parents want grandparents' rights. They think I drove their son to attack me. That's insane. Is it? I did confront him about the gambling. I did threaten to leave when I found out about the affair. Maybe if I'd just stayed quiet. Stop. Right now. Dr. Mitchell sat beside her. Marcus's choices are his own. You asking questions didn't make him buy acid. You discovering his affair didn't make him research how to kill you. He made those choices. Only him. His parents don't see it that way. His parents are delusional, just like they raised a son who thought murder was acceptable. You're not fighting them alone. You have Monica. You have me. You have Rebecca. We're not letting them anywhere near Maya Hope. The restraining order was filed within 24 hours. Marcus's parents were prohibited from contacting Jasmine or coming within 500 feet of Maya Hope. They tried to fight it, but Judge Williams denied their motion in less than a day. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, your son was convicted of attempting to murder his pregnant wife, Judge Williams wrote. You have publicly defended his actions and blamed the victim. I find that your contact with the child would be detrimental to her welfare. Motion denied. Jasmine cried with relief when Monica called with the news. It's over. They can't touch you. Thank God. Thank you, Monica. Thank you for being strong enough to fight. 1 month later, Dr. Mitchell scheduled the third and final reconstruction surgery. This is the big one, he explained. We'll refine everything we've done, smooth the grafts, reduce scarring. This is the face you'll have going forward. Will I look normal? You'll look like Jasmine Sinclair, survivor, mother, teacher, fighter. That's better than normal. The surgery was scheduled for a Friday morning. Rebecca took the day off to watch Maya Hope. Dr. Mitchell performed the procedure himself, working for 9 hours with his team. When Jasmine woke up in recovery, the pain was intense, but manageable. How did it go, she asked. perfect. The grafts look beautiful. In 2 weeks, when the swelling goes down, you're going to see the difference." Those 2 weeks felt endless. Jasmine taught her classes with bandages still on her face. The kids were curious, but gentle. Sophie drew pictures of Jasmine as a superhero with bandages as her cape. Finally, the day came to remove the bandages. Jasmine insisted on being alone in Dr. Mitchell's office when it happened. He removed the gauze slowly, layer by layer. When the last piece came off, he handed her a mirror. "Ready?" "No, but do it anyway." Jasmine looked at her reflection. The scars were still there. They would always be there. But they were softer now, integrated, part of her face rather than foreign intrusions. She had cheekbones again, a nose that was proportional. Her eyes, unchanged by the acid, looked back at her with something that might eventually become pride. "I don't look like I did before," she said. "No, you look like someone who survived, someone who refused to die, someone stronger than before." Jasmine touched her face gently. "Hello, I'm Jasmine Sinclair. Nice to meet you." Dr. Mitchell's eyes filled with tears. "You're beautiful." "I'm scarred." Same thing. That night, Jasmine stood in front of the bathroom mirror for an hour, just looking, just seeing. The woman in the reflection wasn't the Jasmine who'd walked into her house that October night. But she wasn't a monster either. She was someone new, someone forged in fire, someone who'd survived the unsurvivable. Maya Hope woke crying. Jasmine picked her up, and the 8-month-old baby reached for her mother's face with chubby hands. No fear, no hesitation, just love. "Mama," Maya said, her first word, clear as a bell. "Mama." Jasmine started crying. "That's right, baby. Mama. I'm your mama." Dr. Mitchell appeared in the doorway. "Did she just—" She said mama. Her first word was mama. They stood there, 3 generations, grandfather, daughter, granddaughter, a family built from tragedy and determination. "You know what I realized today," Jasmine said? "Marcus took my face, but I took back my life, and that's the best revenge of all." "Not revenge," Dr. Mitchell said. "Victory. You won, Jasmine, completely." 1 week later, Jasmine received a letter from the Georgia State Legislature. They wanted to name a new domestic violence law after her. Natalie's law had passed in another state, but Georgia wanted Jasmine's law. Increased penalties for acid attacks, mandatory minimum sentences, enhanced protections for pregnant victims. The law would change everything for future victims. "They want me to speak at the signing ceremony," Jasmine told Rebecca. "Are you going to do it?" "I don't know, standing up in front of politicians and cameras, telling my story again." "You've already told your story in court. This is just making sure other women don't have to go through what you did." Jasmine looked at Maya Hope, playing on the floor with the teddy bear doctor Mitchell had given her. Mr. Buttons, with one eye. The bear Caroline Sinclair had loved 30 years ago. "Okay," Jasmine said. "I'll do it. For Maya. For every woman who comes after me." The signing ceremony was held in the state capitol. Jasmine stood at a podium in front of cameras and legislators and domestic violence advocates. She wore a navy dress Rebecca had helped her pick. Her scars were visible. She didn't try to hide them. "My name is Jasmine Sinclair," she began. 7 months ago, my husband tried to murder me with acid because I asked questions about money. He failed. I survived. Today, because of this law, future victims will have stronger protections. Future abusers will face harsher penalties. This law won't prevent all attacks, but it will help, and help is what we need. The governor signed the law with Jasmine beside him. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. "Mrs. Sinclair, how does it feel to have a law named after you?" "It feels like my pain has purpose, like Marcus didn't win." "What would you say to other domestic violence victims?" "Leave. Don't wait. Don't hope he'll change. Don't believe his promises. If someone hurts you once, they'll hurt you again. Leave while you still can." That night, Jasmine's phone exploded with messages. Domestic violence organizations wanting her to speak, news outlets requesting interviews, women thanking her for being brave. One message stood out. from a woman named Ashley in Tennessee. I left my husband today, after 8 years. He never threw acid, but he hurt me in other ways. I watched your speech. You gave me courage. Thank you for saving my life. Jasmine showed the message to Dr. Mitchell. You're changing lives, he said. I'm just telling the truth. Sometimes that's the most powerful thing we can do. That weekend, Dr. Mitch Mitchell took Jasmine to visit Lisa's grave. It was a small cemetery outside Atlanta. Quiet, peaceful. Lisa Sinclair, beloved wife and mother, 1970 to 1999. I brought Caroline home, Dr. Mitchell said to the headstone. She goes by Jasmine now. She's a teacher, a mother, a survivor. You'd be so proud of her, Lisa. So proud. Jasmine knelt beside the grave. I wish I remembered you. Dr. Mitchell tells me you loved me, that you sang to me, that you used lavender lotion. She paused. I smell lavender sometimes, and I feel safe. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's the part of you I still carry. They stood in silence for a while. Then Jasmine said something she hadn't planned. I forgive you for taking me, for getting sick, for leaving me alone. I forgive you. Dr. Mitchell put his arm around her shoulders. They walked back to the car together. On the drive home, Jasmine made a decision. I want to start speaking. At shelters, at schools, anywhere women need to hear that they can survive. Are you sure? That's a lot of emotional labor. I'm sure. My scars are going to be visible for the rest of my life. I might as well use them to help people. 2 months later, Jasmine gave her first speech at a domestic violence shelter. 15 women sat in a circle, all survivors, all rebuilding their lives. My name is Jasmine, and 7 months ago, my husband threw acid in my face while I was pregnant. She let them look at her scars. Let them see the damage. He tried to destroy me, but I'm still here. You're still here. That's what matters, not what they did to us, what we choose to do after. A woman in the back raised her hand. How do you live with the scars? How do you look in the mirror? Some days I can't. Some days I cry. But most days I remember that these scars prove I survived. They're badges of honor, evidence that I'm stronger than the man who tried to break me. Another woman spoke up. I left yesterday. I have nowhere to go. I'm terrified. Jasmine walked over and took her hand. You did the hardest part. You left. Everything else is just details. Housing, money, rebuilding your life. Those are solvable problems. Staying with someone who hurts you, that's not solvable. You made the right choice. After the talk, women lined up to hug her, to thank her, to tell their stories. Jasmine drove home exhausted but fulfilled. This was her purpose. This was why she'd survived. At home, Maya Hope was crying. Dr. Mitchell walked her around the living room, singing the same lullaby Lisa used to sing. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Jasmine stood in the doorway watching. Her father, her daughter, her family. How did it go? Dr. Mitchell asked. I helped people, really helped them. Then that's everything. Maya Hope reached for Jasmine. Mama, Mama, Mama. Jasmine took her daughter and held her close. That's right, baby. Mama's home. Mama's always going to come home. And for the first time in her life, Jasmine Sinclair knew exactly what home meant. 6 months after Jasmine's first speech at the domestic violence shelter, she sat at Dr. Mitchell's kitchen table with Rebecca and a business plan spread between them. Maya Hope played on the floor, stacking blocks and knocking them down with toddler glee. The Maya Hope Center for Domestic Violence Survivors, Rebecca read aloud. Emergency housing for 20 women and their children. Legal aid, job training, counseling. Jazz, this is ambitious. Too ambitious, Jasmine asked. No, just ambitious. Where's the funding coming from? The settlement from Marcus's insurance company, $500,000. He tried to kill me for that money. I'm using it to save other women. Dr. Mitchell looked up from the budget spreadsheet. That'll cover construction and first-year operating costs. But after that, grants, donations, fundraising events. I've already talked to Monica Chen. She's putting me in touch with advocacy organizations. You're really doing this? I have to. Every week I get messages from women asking for help, where to go, how to leave. I can give them more than advice. I can give them a place. Rebecca squeezed her hand. Then let's do it. When do we start? Now. The next 3 months were chaos. Jasmine taught 3rd grade during the day, worked on the center at night. Dr. Mitchell used his medical connections to find donors. Rebecca organized fundraising events. Slowly, impossibly, the center started to become real. They found a building, an old community center in southwest Atlanta that had been foreclosed. The price was right, but the work was massive. Plumbing, electrical, walls that needed rebuilding. This is going to cost more than we budgeted, the contractor said. Then we raise more money, Jasmine replied. She started speaking everywhere. Rotary clubs, church groups, corporate events. Anywhere people would listen. She wore her scars openly, let people see what domestic violence looked like. At a fundraiser at the Ritz-Carlton, she stood before 200 wealthy Atlantans in evening gowns and tuxedos. I'm not here to make you comfortable, Jasmine began. I'm here to show you the truth. This is what acid looks like on human skin. This is what attempted murder leaves behind. These scars are permanent. But I'm still here, still fighting, still building a future. But not everyone was supportive. 2 weeks later, Jasmine received a phone call that made her blood run cold. You have a collect call from Marcus Carter at Georgia State Prison. Will you accept the charges? Jasmine's hand shook. No, absolutely not. She hung up, called Monica immediately. Marcus called me from prison. How did he get my number? It's public record from the trial, but you don't have to accept his calls. I'll file a no-contact order extension. What does he want? Who knows? Don't engage with him. That's what he wants. Attention. Control. Don't give it to him. But the calls kept coming. Every few days. Always the same recorded message. You have a collect call from Marcus Carter. Always, Jasmine hung up. Then a letter arrived, forwarded through her lawyer to avoid giving Marcus her address. Jasmine stared at the envelope. Marcus's handwriting. She hadn't seen it in a year. Don't read it, Rebecca said. I have to. I need to know what he wants. Inside, the letter was 2 pages. Jasmine's hands shook as she read. Jasmine, I know you hate me. I understand why. What I did was unforgivable. I was sick, desperate, drowning. I made the worst choice possible. I've had a year in prison to think about that night, to relive it, to hate myself for it. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking you to let me write to Maya Hope, when she's older, to explain, to apologize. She deserves to know her father isn't completely a monster. That I loved her, even when I did something monstrous. Please, just this one thing. Marcus. Jasmine crumpled the letter and threw it across the room. He wants to write to Maya Hope. He wants access to our daughter. Dr. Mitchell's face went hard. Over my dead body. He says he's sorry, that he was sick. He researched how to kill you for 3 weeks. That's not sick. That's calculated. Don't let him manipulate you. I'm not. Jasmine's voice broke. I just hate that he still has this power, that even from prison he can make me afraid. Then take the power back. Respond. Tell him exactly what you think. Then never engage again. Jasmine wrote back that night. 1 page, clear, final. Marcus, you threw acid in my face while I was pregnant with your daughter. You left me to die. You showed no remorse at trial. You smiled when my water broke in court. Now you want access to Maya Hope? You want to explain yourself? No. Maya Hope will never know you. She will know her mother survived. Her grandfather searched for her for 26 years. Her godmother never left her side. She will know what love looks like. You will be nothing to her. Not a father, not even a memory. Just a name on a court document. a cautionary tale I'll tell when she's old enough to understand that some people choose evil. Don't contact me again. Don't call. Don't write. You're dead to us, Jasmine. She mailed it the next day. The calls stopped. 3 months later, the Maya Hope Center opened. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew 200 people. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms spoke. Georgia senators attended. But the moment Jasmine cherished most was when the first resident arrived. Her name was Tasha, 26 years old, 2 kids under 5, black eye, broken arm, nowhere to go. I left last night, Tasha said quietly. I saw your picture in the paper. The center. I thought maybe... You thought right. Come in. You're safe now. Jasmine showed Tasha to her room. 2 beds, clean sheets, a bathroom, a lock on the door. This is mine? Tasha asked. This is yours, for as long as you need it. We have counselors, legal aid, job training, daycare for your kids, everything you need to start over. Tasha started crying. I don't know how to thank you. You already did. You left. That's the hardest part. Everything else we'll do together. Within a month, the center was at capacity. 20 women, 32 children. All survivors, all rebuilding. Jasmine spent her mornings teaching 3rd grade, her afternoons at the center, her nights with Maya Hope, who was talking non-stop now, asking questions about everything. Mama, why your face have lines? Because someone hurt Mama, but Mama got better. Who hurt you? Someone who made a bad choice. I don't make bad choices. Jasmine smiled. No, baby, you don't. You make the best choices. Dr. Mitchell had fully retired from surgery now, spending his days helping at the center, fixing broken appliances, driving women to job interviews, being the father figure many of them had never had. You're doing God's work, one resident told him. No, Jasmine's doing God's work. I'm just trying to make up for lost time. 6 months after the center opened, Jasmine received a call from Congressman John Lewis's office. The civil rights icon wanted to meet her. They met at his Atlanta office. Congressman Lewis was 80 years old, frail from cancer, but his eyes were sharp. Mrs. Sinclair, your work is remarkable. You've turned tragedy into purpose. Thank you, Congressman. I want you to testify before Congress. We're introducing federal legislation to increase penalties for acid attacks nationwide. Your story will help pass it. When? Next month. Can you do it? Jasmine thought about Marcus, about the attack, about standing before politicians and cameras and telling her story again. Yes, I'll do it. She testified on a Tuesday in February. The House Judiciary Committee. Cameras everywhere. Congresspeople asking questions. Mrs. Sinclair, please tell the committee what happened the night of October 15th. Jasmine told her story. She'd told it so many times now it felt like reciting someone else's history. But the anger was still fresh. The pain still real. My husband threw industrial acid in my face because I asked questions about money. He left me to die. He showed no remorse. He smiled when my water broke during his trial. Acid attacks are torture. They're attempted murder, and the penalties need to reflect that. Congressman Jim Jordan from Ohio asked, but Mrs. Sinclair, your attacker was convicted and sentenced to 40 years. Doesn't that prove the system works? In Georgia, yes, but in some states, acid attacks are charged as simple assault, 3 to 5 years. That's not justice. That's a vacation. Federal standards would ensure every victim gets justice. The bill passed the House 3 months later, the Senate 6 months after that. The president signed it into law on the anniversary of Jasmine's attack. She stood in the Oval Office, Maya Hope on her hip, Dr. Mitchell beside her, as the president signed the Jasmine's Law Act. This law will protect countless women, the president said. Thank you for your courage, Mrs. Sinclair. That night, Jasmine's phone exploded with messages, women thanking her, organizations praising her, news outlets requesting interviews. But one message stood out, from Marcus's mother, Patricia. You've destroyed our family, turned our son into a monster, taken our grandchild, profited from your victimhood. God will judge you for this. Jasmine showed it to Dr. Mitchell. Should I respond? No, let Monica handle it. They're just bitter their son is in prison where he belongs. But Patricia Carter wasn't finished. 2 weeks later, she filed for grandparents' rights again. Different court, different judge, different strategy. They're arguing Marcus had a psychotic break, Monica explained, that he's not responsible for his actions, that Maya Hope deserves to know her paternal family. We already fought this. We won. Different jurisdiction. We have to fight it again. The hearing was brutal. Patricia Carter took the stand, crying, talking about Marcus as a little boy, how he was kind, gentle, wouldn't hurt a fly. Something happened to him, Patricia said. Jasmine pushed him over the edge. He snapped, but he's still my son, and Maya Hope is still my granddaughter. We love her. We deserve to see her. Jasmine's turn to testify came next. Mrs. Sinclair, do you believe Maya Hope would benefit from knowing her paternal grandparents? The Carter's lawyer asked. No. They've defended Marcus's attempt to murder me. They've blamed me for his choices. They called me unstable. They said I drove him to it. That's not love. That's delusion. I won't expose my daughter to people who think throwing acid on your pregnant wife is understandable. But isn't it cruel to deprive a child of her grandparents? What's cruel is trying to murder the mother of your child. Marcus made his choice. His parents are defending that choice. They made their choice too. And I'm making mine. Maya Hope will never know them. Judge Thompson ruled from the bench. Mrs. Carter, Mr. Carter, I understand you love your son, but your son was convicted of attempted murder. He researched how to kill his wife. He purchased acid. He threw it in her face while she was pregnant. Then he fled. These are not the actions of a man having a psychotic break. These are the actions of a calculated predator. Your continued defense of his actions demonstrates poor judgment. I find that contact with Maya Hope would be detrimental to her welfare. Motion denied. Permanently. Don't file again. Jasmine walked out of the courthouse shaking. Dr. Mitchell put his arm around her. It's over. Really over this time. They'll never stop. They'll always blame me. Let them. You know the truth. Maya knows the truth. That's all that matters. 1 year after the center opened, Jasmine received another letter. This time from Marcus himself. No return address, forwarded through the prison system. Jasmine, I saw you on the news, testifying before Congress, opening the center, winning awards. You've made yourself into a victim celebrity, built a career on what I did to you. You're no better than I am. We both used each other. I used you for insurance money. You're using me for fame. At least I'm honest about what I am. Marcus. Jasmine read it 3 times. Each time, her anger grew. He thinks we're the same, she told Rebecca. He thinks saving women is the same as trying to murder me. He's delusional. Don't engage. I'm not going to engage. I'm going to end it. Jasmine requested a prison visit. Monica tried to talk her out of it. Why would you want to see him? Because I need him to see me, see what he failed to destroy, see that I won. The Georgia State Prison visitation room was cold and gray. Jasmine sat at a metal table, Maya Hope with Dr. Mitchell in the waiting area. She'd refused to bring her daughter anywhere near this place. Marcus was let in wearing an orange jumpsuit. He'd aged, lost weight. His hair was graying at the temples. He sat down across from her, picked up the phone. She picked up hers. You came, he said. I came to tell you something. Then I'm never coming back. Always dramatic. You wrote that I'm using you for fame, that we're the same. Aren't we? No, I help women leave abusive relationships. You tried to murder your pregnant wife. Those things are not remotely similar. Marcus leaned forward. You pushed me. You wouldn't leave things alone. You had to know everything, control everything. I asked about charges on our credit card. That's not control, that's partnership. You threatened to leave me. After you stole our money and cheated on me, yes, I threatened to leave. That's called consequences. I was drowning in debt, desperate. You didn't understand the pressure I was under. Jasmine laughed. I don't care. You could have filed for bankruptcy, gone to therapy, asked for help. Instead, you researched how to kill me. You bought acid. You threw it in my face while I was pregnant with your child. Then you walked out and left me to die. That's not pressure. That's evil. Marcus's face hardened. You've done well for yourself. The center, the law, the speeches. Congratulations. You turned tragedy into profit. I turned tragedy into purpose. There's a difference. Is there? You're on TV, giving interviews, writing a book. You're famous because of what I did. I'm alive despite what you did. And yes, I'm using my experience to help other women. That's called resilience, something you'll never understand. Maya Hope is going to want to know me someday. When she's older, she's going to ask about her father. And I'll tell her the truth, that her father tried to murder her mother, that he showed no remorse, that he's a cautionary tale about choosing wrong. She'll know you, Marcus. She'll know exactly what you are. You're poisoning her against me. No, I'm protecting her from you. The same thing I should have done for myself before I married you. Jasmine stood. This is the last time we'll ever speak. You're going to rot in this prison for 40 years. I'm going to live, love, raise our daughter, help hundreds of women, win. I win, Marcus. Completely. Finally. Totally. You tried to destroy me and you failed. Remember that every day for the next 40 years. She hung up the phone and walked out. Marcus's voice followed her, muffled through the glass, shouting something she couldn't hear and didn't care about. Dr. Mitchell was waiting with Maya Hope. How do you feel? He asked. Free. Really, truly free. On Maya Hope's second birthday, they threw a party at the center. 22 kids from Maya's daycare, all 20 residents and their children. Rebecca, Dr. Mitchell, Monica Chen, Detective Rodriguez, everyone who'd been part of the journey. Maya Hope wore a princess dress and her red rain boots, the same red boots with frogs that Caroline Sinclair had worn 30 years ago. Dr. Mitchell had found them on eBay, exact replicas. More cake, Maya demanded. You've had 3 pieces, Jasmine laughed. More. She's stubborn like her mother, Dr. Mitchell said. She's perfect like her mother, Rebecca corrected. Tasha, the center's first resident, approached with her 2 kids. She'd gotten a job as a paralegal, saved enough for a deposit on an apartment. She was moving out next week. I wanted to thank you, Tasha said, for everything, for saving my life. You saved your own life. You left. You did the work. I just gave you a place to heal. You gave me hope. That's bigger than a place. After the party, after everyone left, Jasmine sat in Maya Hope's room watching her daughter sleep. The little girl clutched Mr. Buttons, the one-eyed teddy bear, against her chest. You're going to have a good life, Jasmine whispered. Better than mine. Better than Caroline's. You're going to know you're loved every single day. Dr. Mitchell knocked softly on the door. Can I come in? Of course. He sat in the rocking chair. I've been thinking about Lisa, your mother. What she'd say if she could see you now. What would she say? That she was right, that taking you was the right choice, not the rational choice, not the legal choice. But in her sick mind, she was protecting you. And in a strange way, she did. She took you away from a life that would have been safe, but maybe ordinary. She put you into the system where you learned to fight, to survive, to become who you are now. I'm not saying what she did was right, but maybe it had purpose. Jasmine thought about this. Do you really believe that? I believe everything happens for a reason. You were taken from me, lost in the system, suffered through foster care, married a monster, nearly died. And now you're saving lives, changing laws, making a difference. That's not random. That's purpose. I'd rather have had you for 26 years. Me too. But we have now. We have Maya. We have the rest of our lives. That's enough. 3 years after the acid attack, Jasmine stood on a stage at the Georgia World Congress Center. 5,000 women filled the auditorium, the annual Domestic Violence Survivors Conference. Jasmine's scars had faded to silver lines, still visible, still part of her, but softer now, integrated. "My name is Jasmine Sinclair," she began. "3 years ago, my husband threw acid in my face. He tried to kill me. He failed. Today, I run a shelter that's helped 300 women leave abusive situations. I've testified before Congress. I've spoken at hundreds of events. I've raised $2 million for domestic violence prevention. I'm writing a book. I'm raising a daughter who knows her mother is a fighter. I'm living a life my attacker tried to take from me." She paused. Let the words sink in. If you're in an abusive relationship, hear me clearly. It will not get better. He will not change. Love is not supposed to hurt. Leave. Walk away. Run if you have to. Find a shelter. Call a hotline. Reach out to family, to friends, to strangers. Get out while you still can. Because I almost didn't make it out. I crawled to that door with my face melting. I survived by inches. Don't cut it that close. Don't wait. Leave now. 5,000 women stood and applauded. Some were crying, some were nodding, some were making the decision right then to leave. After the speech, women lined up to talk to Jasmine, to hug her, to thank her. One woman in particular stood out. "My name is Jennifer. I'm leaving tonight. My husband doesn't know. I've been planning for 2 weeks. Your story gave me courage." Jasmine hugged her. "Where are you going?" "The Maya Hope Center. If there's room." "There's always room. We'll make room." That night, Jennifer became the center's 300th resident. Jasmine drove home, exhausted, but fulfilled. Doctor. Mitch Mitchell was reading to Maya Hope when she arrived. "Mama," Maya ran to her, "Papa read 3 books." "3 whole books? You're spoiled." "I'm loved," Maya corrected, using Dr. Mitchell's words. Same thing. After Maya was asleep, Jasmine stood in her bathroom looking at her reflection. 3 years. 3 years since Marcus had tried to destroy her. Her face was different, would always be different, but she'd learned to love it. These scars were her armor, her credentials. Proof she'd survived the unsurvivable. She touched the silver lines gently. "Thank you for reminding me I'm stronger than I knew." The next morning brought news. Marcus had been attacked in prison, stabbed by another inmate. He was in the hospital in critical condition. Monica called with the update. "He might not make it. Do you want me to keep you informed?" "No, he's already taken up too much space in my life. Whatever happens to him is between him and God now." Marcus survived, but the attack left him partially paralyzed. He'd spend the rest of his sentence in a wheelchair, vulnerable, weak, exactly what he'd tried to make Jasmine. "Karma," Rebecca said when she heard. "Maybe. I don't care either way. He's not my problem anymore." 6 months later, Jasmine's book was published. From Ashes to Advocacy, one woman's journey from victim to victor. It became a New York Times bestseller within 2 weeks. The book tour took her across the country. She spoke in bookstores and libraries and community centers. Everywhere, women came to hear her story, to find hope in her survival. In each city, Jasmine donated book proceeds to local domestic violence organizations. By the end of the tour, she'd raised another $1 million. "You're changing the world," Dr. Mitchell said. "I'm just telling the truth. The world is changing itself." On the 3-year anniversary of the attack, Jasmine stood in front of her 3rd grade class. Her students were different from that October night. New kids, new faces, but the same curiosity. "Miss Sinclair, can I ask a question?" A boy named Devin raised his hand. "Of course." "Why do you have scars on your face?" The other students went quiet. They'd learned not to ask, not to stare. But Devin was new. He didn't know the rules yet. "Someone hurt me very badly 3 years ago," Jasmine said. "But I healed. These scars remind me that I'm a survivor, that I'm strong, that bad things happen, but you don't give up." "Does it still hurt?" "Not anymore. Now they just remind me I'm alive." Devin thought about this. My mom says you're a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who refused to die. That's what makes you a hero. After school, Principal Martinez stopped by Jasmine's classroom. I have news. The school board wants to name the new elementary school after you, the Jasmine Sinclair Academy for Learning and Healing. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say yes. You've inspired this entire district, students, teachers, parents. You deserve this recognition. Yes, I'll do it. The school opened the following year. Jasmine spoke at the ribbon cutting. 1,500 students, 75 teachers, all learning in a building that bore her name. Education saved my life, Jasmine told the crowd. When I was in foster care, teachers were the only stable adults I had. They believed in me when nobody else did. I became a teacher to pay that forward. This school will do the same for thousands of students. It will be a place of safety, of learning, of healing. Thank you for this honor. Maya Hope, now 3 years old, stood beside her wearing her red rain boots. That's my mama, she told everyone proudly. She's the strongest person in the world. That night, Jasmine tucked Maya into bed and sang the lavender lullaby. The same one Lisa had sung to Caroline. The same one Dr. Mitchell sang to Maya. Mama, tell me the story, Maya said. Which story? The one about the strong lady. Jasmine knew which story. The one about a woman who survived acid, who rebuilt her face, who discovered her father, who sent her attacker to prison, who opened a shelter, who changed laws, who wrote a book, who won. Once upon a time, there was a woman who thought her life was over, Jasmine began, but she was wrong. Her life was just beginning. She survived the worst thing she could imagine. Then she used that survival to help other people. She became stronger than she ever knew she could be, and she lived happily ever after. Not because everything was perfect, but because she chose to keep fighting. The end. Is that lady you, Mama? Yes, baby, that lady is me. You're brave. So are you. You're my reason for being brave. Jasmine kissed her daughter goodnight and walked downstairs. Dr. Mitchell was waiting with tea. Another good day, he asked. Another good day. I'm proud of you. Your mother would be proud of you. Caroline would be proud of who you became. I'm proud of me too, finally, after everything. They sat in comfortable silence, father and daughter, strangers who'd found each other through tragedy, family forged in fire. Outside, the Atlanta night was warm. Inside, the house was full of love. 3 generations, past, present, future, all connected by survival and determination and the refusal to let evil win. Jasmine Sinclair had been Caroline Mitchell, had been a foster kid, had been Jasmine Carter, had been a victim, had been broken, had been burned. Now, she was something else entirely. She was a survivor, a mother, a daughter, a teacher, an advocate, a warrior, a woman who'd stared into the face of death and said, "Not today." Marcus had thrown acid intending to destroy her. Instead, he'd refined her, burned away everything weak, left only strength. The scars on her face would never disappear, but neither would the life she'd built, the women she'd saved, the laws she'd changed, the daughter she'd raised, the father she'd found. Marcus Carter sat in a prison cell, paralyzed, alone, forgotten. Jasmine Sinclair stood in her home, surrounded by love, making history, changing lives. She had won, not just survived, won. Completely, finally, absolutely. And that victory was sweeter than any revenge could ever be.